So what is it that made the Grand Theft Auto franchise so successful? Was it the game's ability to provide a world of freedom to players? The freedom to create, build, and destroy in a realistic world? To be whoever it is that you wanted to be? Or is it that deep down we all have a dark, sinister side to us, in that the only satisfaction and way of that being unleashed playing Grand Theft Auto? I mean, the Grand Theft Auto franchise is one of the most successful franchises in history, so they must be doing something right. They've clearly struck a chord with the gaming community. Take-Two even estimates that they're going to bring in $2.5 billion in its first year. So where did this all start, and how does a franchise even become this big? Once upon a time, in the virtual realm of gaming, there existed a zone of comfort known as Grand Theft Auto, a classic top-down view, nostalgic charm, and endless possibilities drew in millions of gamers into its world. Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 were simple games with a top-down view jam-packed with pixelated graphic fun. The game was set in a fictional open-world city inspired by Miami and was originally developed as a race and chase game of cops and robbers. But due to a glitch in the game during development that aggressively chased the players off the road, hitting pedestrians, the developers actually loved it and decided to keep it. It eventually turned the game into players assuming the role of a criminal character and engaged in various illegal activities like stealing cars, running over pedestrians, and committing crimes. As we all know and love, enjoy, maybe we should just say it's what we all know what Grand Theft Auto is today. They sunk into a zone of comfort, knowing other successful games like Lemmings, StarCraft, and Zelda had similar gameplay design. But in the late 90s, game developers were restricted to their technology limitations, and building an expansive 3D game just wasn't in the deck of cards. But in this realm, Grand Theft Auto yearned to be something more. It desired to break free from its pixelated constraints and become the ultimate gaming experience, where players could truly immerse themselves in a dynamic and interactive open world. The creators Dave Jones and Mike Daly envisioned a game that would truly let players feel like they were a part of a living, breathing city. They wanted to go beyond those limitations of that top-down perspective and give players the freedom to explore the world from a different angle, making the experience more engaging and dynamic.
It's better if we find somewhere private, baby.
They knew that the game lacked a certain kind of luster in order to really push their artwork into being a masterpiece. The late 1990s saw a shift in gaming preferences, with players seeking more immersive experiences in open-world exploration like Metal Gear Solid, Tomb Raider, Super Mario 64, and Resident Evil, and Crash Bandicoot, just to name a few. The team recognized this trend and aimed to deliver a game that would cater to these new desires, and that's when the race was on. This wave of new 3D world games sparked inspiration for the creators. They decided to take Grand Theft Auto to the new dimension, a 3D realm of adventure with characters that felt alive and a city that was breathing with excitement. The team at DMA Design was ambitious and had a strong desire to challenge themselves creatively. Creating a 3D expansive world for GTA 3 was a daunting task, full of skepticism and fear of what the public and media would think. And this game could either make them or break them as a company. But what they believed is it would set a new standard for the gaming industry and open worlds. They decided to embrace the change and develop a game no matter how violent it actually was. And so Grand Theft Auto 3 was unleashed upon the world in 2001. And man, was it awesome. Players were captivated by the sheer freedom to explore, the thrill of the heist, the intricate web of storytelling that sucked them into the criminal underworld. Everything from its storylines, to Claude's willingness to take on the job of the criminal world, to its diverse mission types, open-ended gameplay, hidden packages and collectibles, and the complete freedom of carnage. And let's not forget the best part of all, that classic Rockstar radio station.
This is Head Radio, a love media station. Just one of 900 radio stations, 300 TV stations, 4 networks, 3 satellites, 10 senators.
Thank you.
Head Radio.
This game had revolutionized the gaming industry in such a way that it inspired tons of other video games to be made, like Crackdown, Saints Row, Watch Dogs, and tons of other video games. But as most successful things in life, as they rise to the top, society and media likes to tear them down. As the popularity of Grand Theft Auto 3 soared, a heavy price had to be paid. The game's controversial content led to debates and scrutiny from media and critics alike. Grand Theft Auto faced backlash from parents, the media, and the industry as a whole, but they decided to stand their ground, knowing that sometimes change comes at a cost. They pushed forward with the next installment of the Grand Theft Auto franchise. And 1 year later, they released Grand Theft Auto Vice City, where they introduced purchasable safe houses and assets, the reintroduction of motorcycles that you could shoot from, a large in-game interactive map on the pause menu, being able to jump out of cars, and the biggest difference of it all, an actual voice protagonist. Then 2 years after that, they released Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, one of the best-selling games of its time. In San Andreas, they removed island splash loading screens, gave you the ability to swim and work out your character with more customization than we even knew what to do with, honestly. They introduced aim assist and had more side missions that added a substantial bulk of the playtime in the game. Then even 4 years after San Andreas, they released Grand Theft Auto 4 in 2008. Liberty City, in the fourth game, may have been a smaller map, but it was way more jam-packed with details and action than we had ever seen before. Liberty City had an immaculate level of detail, a new GPS routing system, the introduction of cell phone and computer use in the game, and the beloved cover system, where you could actually take cover behind walls. It seemed to be that with each installment of the Grand Theft Auto franchise, it grew at an unfathomable rate that every video game developer could only dream of. Then we received Grand Theft Auto 5. The most recent installment of the series was the most successful of them all. The game broke records in all categories, being the most expensive to produce with an estimated $265 million. And the game's revenue broke a record, making $7.7 billion over its lifetime. And to this very day, Grand Theft Auto 5 still makes about $2.5 million a day. God, man, I wish I could just get, like, a tiny bit of that money. But in all honesty, all of this is chump change compared to what Take-Two actually estimates for Grand Theft Auto 6, believe it or not. Take-Two estimates that the Grand Theft Auto 6 game is estimated to make $1 billion in its first week, and that this will cover its $1 billion budget that they're estimating it's taking just to make the game. Which then leads us to what they think that the game will make in 1 year. They're estimating that GTA 6 will make $2.5 billion in its first year. That's just sheer insanity. The Grand Theft Auto series has changed forever and could go down as one of the most expensive and profitable games in history. So really, what was it that made the Grand Theft Auto franchise so incredibly successful? It was them embracing change. They embraced a concept that they had and improved on it every day of every year on every game, and changed the game to dive into unknown territories that most developers were scared to explore, and creating this vast and rich, deep world full of stories where crime rules and violence is unhinged, where the player writes their own stories in a realistic gangster world, and the players can be as good or as bad as they want. So far, Rockstar has kept GTA 6 on the DL until the past few months, and so far, we know that the map will be massive. We should have multiple storylines to follow like we did in Grand Theft Auto 5, and that we'll be receiving at least one new mechanic in the game: surfing. Now, maybe this is just my opinion, but personally, I wouldn't really mind surfing as a mechanic. standing on a surfboard, shooting up sharks and hookers. It sounds like a fun game of whack-a-mole in the ocean. So if Grand Theft Auto 6 ends up making a similar ROI as GTA 5 did, this classic top-down shooter that turned into one of the greatest franchise empires of all time could be estimated to make, over its entire lifespan, somewhere around $29 billion. So the real question is that even possible? And are you going to pre-order the game? Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you're curious how EA screwed up SimCity so incredibly bad that it's causing the rise of a new franchise, City Skylines, be sure to watch this video right here. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.